Welcome to the Legalpreneur podcast. I'm your host, Andrea Sager, founder and CEO of Legalpreneur Inc. As a serial entrepreneur and someone that works exclusively with small business owners legally protecting their business, I'm dedicated to covering common legal issues faced by business owners, providing you with the business knowledge you need to catapult your business's growth and showing you just how some of the world's most elite entrepreneurs have handled these legal and business issues themselves. In true attorney fashion, the information in this episode is not legal advice. This is for informational purposes only, and you should always consult with your attorney before implementing any of the information in the show. Hey there! Happy Friday. Welcome back. We are coming at you with another Legalpreneur episode, and we're talking business, personal, and we're specifically talking about restriction and why you should stop restricting yourself. We all do it. Don't worry, we're going to talk about stopping that shit now. But first, a couple announcements. Don't forget about our giveaway. You guys, you can win a free pair of AirPods. All you have to do is screenshot this episode, tag us in your Instagram stories, tag the Legalpreneur, and tag Andrea Sager Law. That's it. That's all you have to do to be entered to win. Also, for a bonus entry, screenshot your review of the podcast and DM it to me or email it to me, and that will get you a bonus entry. So the total number of entries you can have in this is 13. 12 episodes this month plus your bonus entry. We're giving away 4 pairs total. We've already given away a couple. And I'm telling you the screenshot for the review because you may have already left one. So you may not be able to leave one again. So just screenshot it and show me that you've already done it. Also, don't forget our waitlist for Legalpreneur Live. It's coming up soon, you guys. I'm super pumped to announce all this to you. I'm trying to keep it in, but I'm also like, oh, I want to shout it from the rooftops. But anyway, it's coming. Okay, restriction. I think this is something a lot of us do. I know this is something a lot of us do, and I've been very, very guilty of it. And this 100% came from my childhood, and it spills into my personal life, my business life, like everything. But once I realized how it was holding me back and I started to lean into not restricting myself, it has opened up so many doors. And I'll tell you why. But first, restriction. What do you mean by restriction, Andrea? So, not listening to your body when it wants to do something. Specifically, whenever you're like, "Oh, I want to do this." And it's like, "Oh, I really shouldn't," or "Oh, I would like to do this," or "I really shouldn't because of this or that," whatever reason. But when you have this feeling in your body like I should do this, that's your heart's desire. And we should all be living according to our heart's desire. That's what we should be pursuing in life. Okay, my heart desires to do this. I'm going to go fucking do that because that's what my heart wants to do. And when you do that, that's telling the universe, "Hey, I'm listening and I am acting in for my highest good," because your heart's desire is your highest good. So when you act on that, the universe is like, "Hell yeah, here's some more. Here's some more good. Here's some more good," and keep acting on it. Back in December, I had a money mindset call with Emily Williams, and basically, was telling her, "Hey, I have great cash flow, but I can't seem to get to the next level." And what I meant by that was I can't save enough. I can't just have enough in my bank account. I want to have more than enough, but I always have just enough. I mean, when I say great cash flow, I mean, the firm makes, I would say over the past 12 months, we've brought in, it's been a kind of a wide range, but anywhere from 70 to well over $100,000 per month. I'm not personally making that much, but that's what the firm's bringing in. I personally bring in, I think, anywhere between $10 and $25,000 a month. It's a lot, but I have a lot of expenses, and not just for me. I pay for my ex's house. I pay for a lot of stuff that I don't have to, but I do to make sure people in my life are taken care of. I just told Emily, I was like, I feel like I just can't get to that next level of saving even more and having just more than enough. She asked me, "What would you be doing this week if you were, the woman you desire to be ultimately?" And I was like, "Ah, I'd probably be in Mexico just, like, hanging out at the beach because my kids went to Kentucky for Christmas. I was on my own for, like, a week, and I was like, "I would love to go to Mexico." And she was like, "Well, why don't you just go?" And I I was like, "Well, I don't have that much extra money, and I could just work I'm just gonna work in Mexico, so I may as well just work here at home, and I this and that." I was, like, coming up with all the excuses. And she was like, just look into it. Like, it may not even cost that much money. Like, we have these big ideas for these things, and we think it's gonna cost a lot, which and it really doesn't." So, we get off the call. You guys, I had all these credit card points. I stayed at an all-inclusive resort, first class flight. It was all paid for with all my credit card points. Because I remember talking to her on the call, and I was like, "Well, I may not have to pay that much because I have a lot of credit card points." I didn't have to pay a dime. First class flight, all-inclusive resort, everything paid for. But when I went to go book this trip, I had a panic attack. And I mean, like, the first panic attack I've ever had in my entire life. I'm on the phone with my best friend Kayla, and I'm crying. I'm like, "Oh my god, I can't book this trip." Like, I was sick to my stomach. I was so sick about this, which sounds crazy, you guys. It's like, "Bitch, you had a fucking free trip, free flight. Like, what are you talking about?" But this was a real fear for me. And I'd always wanted to be this woman who just, like, got up and left. But I've never ever, and fly solo, travel solo all the time for business, but not for me. Not just for me to have just a solo vacation, just to go somewhere because I want to go. I always have the excuse like, "Oh, I have to go because it's business." And I realized I have this idea of who I wanna be, but I was restricting myself and not letting myself be that person for whatever reason. And so I'm on the phone with Kayla crying. I'm actually texting Emily, and she's, like, voice noting me, and I'm, like, crying, like, it was a whole situation. So I finally I'm just like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do it, book it." And that was a Thursday night, I left the next morning, and I had to go get a COVID test, a rapid test, and I go, and normally these rapid tests for travel, they're like 100, $200. I go to this ER, and they're the only ones that I could get it done in time. And I'm like, "How much is it?" And they're like, "Oh, it's free with your insurance." You guys, it wasn't even about the money because obviously I had $100 to pay for the test, but in my head I had this story like, I really should just save this money, shouldn't go, blah 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 blah." Y'all, free COVID test, free first class flight, free resort, all inclusive, like free everything. And that just goes to show like it's not always about the money. Most of the times it's not about the money. You're just restricting yourself for one reason or another. Like we all have our own reasons. And ultimately, Emily helped me realize I was holding myself back because I wasn't allowing myself to live according to my heart's desire. So, from literally since December, this was a little over a month ago, I literally am just like, okay, if my heart desires something, I'm doing it. And I make sure it happens because I know if I'm not doing that thing my body's telling me to do, my heart's telling me, hey, this is what you want, then I'm literally restricting myself. I'm holding myself back, and it's stopping me from being my highest self because I'm telling the universe, no, I don't want this. I don't want this goodness in my life. So then the universe holds me back and sends me these negative things. So stop restricting yourself. If your body is telling you something, if you're like, oh, I want to do this thing, but I really shouldn't because of this or that, blah, 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 stop with the excuses. Do it. Find a way to make it happen because I promise you, literally over a month ago, I was in such a completely different space than where I am now. I'm trying not to cry because it's insane how different my life was even just a month ago. And that's just making this huge shift in my life to just stop restricting myself. And in other ways, like if y'all want to get really personal, so I was in like this very much a situationship, not a relationship, if you know what I mean, for like a year. And Kayla, my best friend, I remember telling her this was like last month in December. I was like, I just wish I could stop thinking about him. Like, I don't want to think about him. And she literally helped me see. She's like, Andrea, like, stop stopping yourself from thinking about him. Like, acknowledge that you want to think about him and just remember, like, he's just not your person, or it's just like, it's just not the right time for you guys. but just like stop restricting yourself because that's still holding you back because you're not allowing those thoughts to come and just flow. Like you see those thoughts, you acknowledge them, and then they're gone. It's like, okay, cool. Like literally that was life changing for me because anytime he like pops up in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, like those times were great. And then just remember, hey, no, not not my person, at least not right now. God, that has helped me tremendously. And then I think especially when it comes to my kids, I like they'll ask for something and for some reason my default is no. Like I don't even know, well, I think I know why. Like it's just that was what I heard as a kid and not that my parents were bad. It's just I would ask for things and like no. Not even a good reason for no. And I caught myself doing that with my kids. They would ask for something simple and I'm just like, "No." I think about it now and I'm like, "That was so silly." But I realized, okay, that was me restricting me and the kids because they would get annoying when I would tell them like, "Why? Why? I want this. I want," and then they would like cause them to have a fit. And then I'd realize it's something simple, something silly, like just give it to them. And I'm not talking like they would want all, like at the store if they want all this like crazy junk, I don't let them have everything. But like here at home, I think maybe like late at night they'd be like, "Oh, I want another drink." And I'd be like, "No," because I just don't feel like getting out of bed. It's like, "Andrea, get out of bed, get them some water, and they'll go back to sleep." But I would be like, "No, you don't need more," because they'll like in my head, I'm like, "Oh, it's just gonna be a pain because they're gonna pee and then blah blah blah." Blah." So it's just like, okay, just deal with it. Like it's okay because if I would restrict them, then it would turn into a whole ordeal, like, "Please, mommy, please, please, please." Even yeah, when they wanna sleep with me, I have been so not so ag I have been so against them sleeping with me, but then I realized, like, why wouldn't I let them sleep with me? Like, one day they're never ever gonna wanna sleep with me again, and now in this new house, they just want to sleep on my floor in my bedroom. I don't know why, but they don't even wanna sleep in the same bed, they just wanna sleep on the floor in my room, and I just know, like, that's where they're most comfortable. Why would I wanna restrict my kids from feeling comfortable? So, literally, anytime now that I hear myself saying no or wanting to say no, I question myself, like, "Hey, is this something you really need to say no to? Is this something you really need to restrict yourself from?" And, I dig in, and normally it's like, "No, like, this is no big deal, like, we're going to go do this or I'm going to enjoy this or whatever." So that has really helped me just have more flow in my life because restriction is just literally restricting flow. So stop restricting yourself, have more flow in your life and enjoy it more. You're literally telling the universe, yes, send me more. Send me more of the good stuff. And when you restrict yourself, you're telling the universe, send me more of the bad stuff. I know this is a little longer than my normal episodes, but hopefully this was helpful. Let me know. Like, seriously, I want to hear from you guys. Is this stuff helpful? Or are you just like, no, I don't even want to hear these Friday episodes? Let me know. And if you have any questions, of course, I'm on Instagram. You can email me, whatever. I will see you guys next week. Here at Legalpreneur, we're committed to providing a supportive legal community for all business owners. I know how scary the legal stuff can be. If you found this information helpful, I would be so grateful if you could share it with a fellow business owner. And quite frankly, it doesn't cost anything to rate, review, or subscribe to the show. Your support helps me reach more listeners, which allows me to support more business owners in their entrepreneurial journey. Have any questions or comments about the show? Feel free to drop me a line on Instagram. I promise I read all of the messages and comments. And if you want to be a guest on the show or know someone that would make a great guest, simply fill out our application form and a team member will reach out if we think it's a good fit. I'll see you in the next episode.